And welcome to a rockin' South Kitsap High School, the home den of the Lady Wolves. I'm the Dr. Doc Parr. It's Community Television's high school basketball game of the week. It's the second season, postseason playoffs, round number 1. I'm very happy to be joined here at South Kitsap High School by the L-Man, Mr. Larry Rowe, and Nick Cale, South Kitsap class of 99. Tonight, the South Kitsap Lady Wolves, the winners of the Narrows League, take over and take on the Curtis Vikings in what should be a great ball game, Larry.
Well, we certainly hope so. The championship game was just a really great game. The Wolves cranked it up and performed at a very high level last week. And they'll be playing the Curtis Vikings tonight, and they have a record of overall 10-11. From the South Puget Sound League. And it should be a great one. Glad to be up here in the booth again with you, Nick.
Well, you're right. The Wolves got their momentum coming off their Bellarmine win, and they are on their trying to get on the road towards that state championship. How it works is district tournament is what they're in right now. They need 2 wins to get into the regional tournament, and the regional tournament consists of 16 teams, and the top 7 out of that tournament get to go on to the coveted state tournament at the Tacoma Dome on March 11th through the 13th. They're ranked number 1, so they get to play the number 8 Curtis team tonight, but it still should be a very good game.
Yes, indeed. Number 1 in the Narrows League after a great victory last weekend over Bellarmine, the one team that beat them this year, and they put the hurt to them on Saturday down at the University of Puget Sound.
I got to talk to Coach Wilson before, and the whole team felt great about getting revenge on the only team that beat them this year.
Hey, let's go to that interview you did, Nick, with Coach Wilson before tonight's ball game. We'll run that right now.
Thanks a lot, Doc. I'm here courtside with Coach. Coach, this team's come a long way. Obviously, the momentum's with you coming after Bellarmine. What are going to be some key points tonight against this Curtis team that no one's really seen yet?
Well, they've got a great outside shooter. We've got to be able to get up in her face with some defensive intensity, and then we got to run the floor.
I know you're looking at tonight's game right now, but how does the rest of the bracket look? The rest of the district tourney teams you're going to face? Who's you going to run into that's going to cause some trouble?
The other 2 in our bracket are Gig Harbor and Enumclaw, and they're both pretty quick teams and things, and that's win or lose. We'll play one of those on Friday, and both those will be a good challenge. Everybody's good at this time of season.
The AP poll came out, and you guys were very, very high. Did you take any stock in what the Associated Press has to say? Do your players take a lot of stock in it at all?
Well, I think the poll is more or less an honor for the kids for how they've done. We got a veteran team, and our kids can play with anybody. We just stay out of foul trouble and do what we're supposed to. I think we are one of the better ones in the state.
Like you said, you have a veteran team. There's a lot of talented underclassmen, but do you feel this might be your last big chance with a lot of stars leaving next season to win a state championship?
This year we got the 2 stars and a good senior class, but we got a lot of underclassmen that are good and a lot of good underclassmen coming up from next year as the 9th grade, the junior high, so we're going to be solid for quite a while.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Okay.
Great interview. Thank you very much, Nick. And I like that point the coach made about that being an honor. The AP poll ranking the South Kitsap Lady Wolves number 3 in the state of Washington after that game on Saturday. Well, let's go to our PA announcer here as we get ready to begin tonight's basketball game, game number 1 in Community Television's doubleheader. The South Kitsap Lady Wolves hosting the Curtis Lady Vikings.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to South Kitsap Playoff Basketball. Tonight, in the first round of the playoffs, our South Kitsap Wolves host the Curtis Vikings, and the starting lineups for the Curtis Vikings. Starting a 5'10 senior number 22, Mandy Salzman. A 5'8 senior number 24, Mary Ferens. 5'8" junior number 30, Melissa Brown. A 6' senior number 40, Ann Gibbon. And a 5'10" senior number 44, Sydney Johnson. The Curtis Vikings are coached by Bob Robinson and head coach Mark Salzman. And now for your 1999 Narrows League champion, your South Kitsap Wolves. Starting at a guard, a 5'6" junior number 10, Kristen Boyd. At the point, a 5'9" senior number 12, Lindsay Foster. At the forward, a 5'9" senior number 30, Erica Lamalu. At a post, a 6' junior number 34, Angela Sampson. And in the middle, a 6'1" senior number 32, Natasha Allen. The Wolves are coached by Betsy Romine, Kathy Ballou, Jeff Costello, and head coach Gary Wilson. Please rise for an national anthem tonight played by trumpet player extraordinaire Gwen Tarr.
Nice rendition of the Star Spangled Banner there. Well, this is Community Television's high school basketball game of the week. I'm the Dr. Doc Parr. It's game number 1 in our first week of doubleheaders and postseason play. And we're very happy to be bringing you, working with the South Kitsap High School Advanced and Professional Video Production class. Round number 1 is the South Kitsap Lady Wolves, the winners of the Narrow League, host the Curtis Vikings in a 4A West Central District 3 matchup here on Wednesday night, guys. It's going to be a good one tonight, I think.
Yeah, as we approach tip-off here, Coach Wilson stressed defense. He said defense got him to the Narrows League championship, and he said it's going to be a big part of tonight's game.
Well, it was that championship game that really proved his axiom there about defense, because defense was the key. And here we go.
Angela Sampson jumping center, and the Curtis Vikings, Marie Ferens brings it down court. Well, I also liked what the coach said about don't get in foul trouble. I thought that was a real good point that he made.
Well, hopefully we won't have quite as many fouls as we had in the first half of our last championship game. And it had 11 fouls, I believe, in that first half. And the Wolves are in their tough man-to-man D.
Lindsay Foster takes the ball away, brings it down court to Natasha Allen, and Natasha loses the ball out of bounds. Also out there starting for our Lady Wolves, Kristen Boyd, Erica Lamalu, and Angela Sampson, who jumps center. And already the Wolves putting on a little full court, and it pays off. Lindsay Foster with the hand in the passing lane. And a quick foul tag to Curtis. Curtis has Mary Ferens out there. Melissa Brown, and Gibbon, Sydney Johnson. And Mandy Saltzman. Eric Lamalu with the inbound pass. We got a quick foul whistle there.
Looks like the Lady Wolves took a page out of the guys' playbook on that one. The inbound right into the paint and up to the hoop, and they draw the foul.
Well, that's definitely nice, aggressive play, Nick. That's the way this team plays so well.
Well, one thing I think that hurt the Bellarmine team last year is they just did not, last game, they did not have an answer for the ball handling of Lindsay Foster, who, as we know, is very adept at that. And they definitely got their game going in the first quarter when they started putting the full court pressure on, and their defense created the turnovers, which in turn keyed the transition game, and that's where South Kitsap started to pull ahead.
And appropriately enough, the all-time leading scorer for the South Kitsap Lady Wolves, Natasha Allen, scores the first 2 points in tonight's first playoff ball game.
And the Vikings break the press a little bit better that time.
Long outside shot that time by Saltzman. Rebounded by Curtis. Mary Ferrens pulls the board down and ties it up here real quick early in the first quarter. That's Lamalu, Lindsay Foster. Lindsay just had a superb game on Saturday down there at the UPS Fieldhouse. I thought she just did everything but sell popcorn, Larry.
She definitely did, and we have the Vikings set up in a zone here.
Sampson pushes it back out to Boyd, and Boyd, well, a couple of uncharacteristic turnovers, Nick, in this first minute or so.
Yeah, they're shaking the rust off in the first few minutes. Both teams aren't handling the ball real well, but the Wolves definitely have the edge when it comes to ball handling.
And Coach Wilson keeping the full court pressure up right on that inbound play. I think that's a good way to try to get the team up and going. Could be hard to get your momentum going after that big game against Bellarmine. Outside jump shot off the iron, pulled down by Angela Sampson, who travels. So Curtis, the recipient of a couple of calls here in the early going.
Well, Angela Sampson doing her thing on the boards as she's done all year.
Well, this may be an interesting game, as many fans may remember. Last year we opened our playoff series with Central Kitsap boys against Curtis Vikings.
Well, I think she had 2 travels on that last play, but sometimes that spin move, they give that to her.
And going up to the free throw line, that's Ann Gibbon.
I thought Ann traveled at the beginning of that play, but not necessarily on the spin.
Well, Ann's the big player out there for Curtis at 6 foot. She's a senior. Curtis coming in with only a 10 and 11. They were South Puget Sound League number 8, I believe, was their ranking. And so obviously the, favor has to go to number 3 in the state, Wolves, Nick.
Yeah, well, Vegas odds do favor the Wolves tonight. As you can check out the stands, even though the WIAA thought it was nice enough to charge $4, the fans still came out in packs tonight.
Well, that's great to see. It's a Wednesday night, and I just love to see this local support. And for us, last year, it was the first year in 10 or 12 years of doing this that we had a playoff game here in Kitsap County, and I think that's great.
Angela Sampson almost getting a steal there.
And back to the big girl, Ann Gibbon. And another whistle. It looks like the referees are calling it fairly tight on South Kitsap.
Well, that was a pretty obvious foul by Angela. She didn't quite get her feet moving in front there, and she took a shoulder pretty hard. So you're going to have to call that one. 3-2. Favor the Vikings here with 5:45 to go in the first quarter.
Little display of the aggressive defense Coach Wilson was talking about.
And inbounding for Curtis, number 22, Mandy Saltzman. Saltzman all the way out front to Melissa Brown. And there's a pro-range, almost three-pointer attempted by Saltzman way off, and South Kitsap brings it down, but a nice little work of defense there by Melissa Brown, picking Lindsay's pocket. And you don't see that happen very often to Lindsay Foster.
Well, she got it picked from behind there, and it was a tough Tough takeaway. Looks like gonna have another foul on the Wolves here.
Well, and I don't want to remind fans, but it goes back to your interview with the coach, Nick. He said they got to stay away from these fouls.
They're showing their hockey skills off early in this game. They got 3 quick fouls, and they're going to have to stay away from that.
Well, I think they might be a little tight, just a little tension. They know what's expected of them. And we all know what they can do. I think it's just going to be a matter of them getting warmed back up, getting their game up to gear. And we've seen this South Kitsap ladies team not always starting out right away with the fastest of starts, but boy, they sure come on strong in the second and third quarter as it was Saturday's game.
Yeah, Bellarmine could tell you that as they just blew them away last week in the last 5 minutes or so of the game.
And again, as Larry said, it was triggered by that aggressive defense and those transition. Foster with a nice jump shot off the iron, pulled down by Sydney Johnson.
Real nice position there by Sydney, boxing out, getting a good rebound.
And again, Curtis willing to take their time. There is a shot clock, of course, in ladies basketball, 30 seconds. But that's a lot of time, and Curtis is using as much as they can, working it around. Once again, another long outside shot by Saltzman off the iron, brought down by South Kitsap. Foster tries to get it inside to Lamalu. Lamalu keeps it from going out of bounds. Kristen Boyd manages to push it out towards Foster, and Foster has to run it down on the other side of the half-court line.
Well, Kristen Boyd trying to flip it out to Foster on that, but unfortunately Foster had changed her position, and we had the over and back call.
And the Curtis Vikings leading 5-2, almost to 3.5 minutes gone in quarter number 1.
Pretty low-scoring game. As you can see right there, Curtis is throwing up grenades the first part, and South just can't get the ball into the paint. That's why it's so low-scoring so far.
And South now setting it up in the half court outside. Boyd to Foster out at the point. Inside to Natasha Ellen at high post. Eric Lamalu touches it. Everybody's touching it. And into the ball game now, Rochelle Cooper, number 42. Back out to Lindsay. Lindsay's shot rattles the iron and goes out. And the Vikings with a nice save right there on the baseline to keep it alive.
Well,
Boy,
they're getting nice inside position there, and the Wolves are not getting offensive rebounds.
Cooper almost knocks the ball loose, but Ann Gibbon, the 6-foot senior for the Vikings, grabs a hold of it and puts the layup in. 7-2 lead for Curtis. And again, the Wolves in a half-court game. Lindsay Foster takes a step in, and a nice bounce pass to Cooper.
Well, that's what needs to happen. Previous to this, they haven't been getting it inside, and if they're going to run that zone on the defense, they got to get it inside. They can't just pop from the outside because nobody's hitting.
Oh, Gibbons got a wide open door there, and she doesn't make it, but Melissa Brown cleans up one of the few offensive rebounds pulled down by Curtis, and they make it pay. 9-4.
Well, we had 3 Wolves in the paint there and didn't get a rebound, so that's going to have to improve, or otherwise the Wolves could be in deep caca.
Foster's shot off the iron, and Natasha Ellen called with travel. Coach
Looks
Wilson,
like Foster is still struggling to find her shot. That's 3 that have just tanked off the rim in the first couple minutes.
well, the one thing that the Wolves have not done yet that they did so well on Saturday is fast break basketball. Beth Ellis with a nice defensive play breaking it up there.
You got to have defensive turnovers to get that fast break going. So far, the Vikings are doing a good job on the boards, and they're just not able to get that game going. We have Beth Ellis in the ball game, number 22 for the Wolves.
That's Mary Ferrens with the ball right now for the Vikings. Salzman, who likes to shoot those long three-pointers. Johnson with it, and Ann Gibbon.
10 seconds on the shot clock.
And Melissa Brown. So the Vikings pretty much staying with that starting 5. And finally pulled down by Cooper. She gets a little whack on the back, but no blood, no foul. Lindsay Foster moves it over to Ellis. Ellis attempts the 3. off the iron, but South Kitsap has a chance to save the ball and get it back, and they do. Kristen Boyd with a nice save. Into a baseline jump shot from Natasha Allen off the iron, and once again, the Vikings rebound. Under 2 minutes to go, the Vikings with a 5-point lead in a very low-scoring game. Make that 7.
That was a beautiful drive by number 30 for the Vikings. That was Melissa Brown going strong to the hoop on the other end.
And
I just don't like what I'm seeing here from the South Kitsap Wolves right now. They're not getting any boards. They're not aggressive on the boards. They're not aggressive on defense. People are standing around, and they need to get it in gear here.
The shots just aren't dropping thus far. I think in second, third, fourth quarter, that's when that's showtime for South Kitsap, and Curtis knows that it's just a matter of time, I think, before they start turning it on and play the way they want to play.
Well, again, I don't think the half-court game is South Kitsap's strong suit, and we haven't really seen their strong suit yet, which is hard running of that ball, pushing it up and down on both defensive and offensive end.
Well,
and Curtis is kind of playing a slowdown.
Well, we may not see it at all from what we've seen so far. I mean, you've got to have the transition. You've got to have the defensive steals to get that game going, and so far Curtis has done a good job, and they've been getting an offensive board, and they've been making their shots just like that one.
Yes, they have. Another 2, and it's a 13-4 lead at the 120 mark here in quarter number 1. Not what anybody expected, I don't think, for the South Kitsap Lady Wolves. Nice shot inside by Ellen DeCooper with an easy layup. And it's been a long time since we've seen that scoreboard change on the South Kitsap side.
Yeah, that drink of water just ended the drought as they put a pair on the board.
Under a minute. And looks like, again, Curtis, they're well disciplined, Larry. They work the ball around until they think they have a good shot. That one not being a good shot. A good tie-up that time by Lamalu, and the South Kitsap Lady Wolves will be bringing it in. 48 seconds left to go in quarter number 1.
Well, they're getting the possession arrow in their favor. With 44 seconds to play here, let's see if the Wolves can score their 8th point.
Lamalu down to Beth Ellis. Natasha Allen out at the high post. Foster out at the point. Cooper's up at the high post. Allen fading inside. Outside shot not in, and a foul tag to South Kitsap.
It'll be Natasha Allen over the back.
Foster usually gets the shooter's roll, and they're just not going down for her yet. So if she got that cooking, she could split this game wide open in a hurry.
Now, it's only 1 foul on Natasha, so it's no problem. 14 fouls, though, on South Kitsap, so they need to be a little wary of that number. Curtis bringing it down, and the shot clock should be off. It's still ticking away, but it is off. Shot by Saltzman on the outside. Vikings try to keep it alive, and South Kitsap has 10 seconds left to put some more points on the board.
Beautiful crossover.
And Foster gets fouled, and let's see if they'll call that the infamous NBA continuation, Larry.
Oh, they didn't give her the bucket.
Let's see. Nope. So apparently not. No continuation in this league.
Didn't get the bucket, but you got a good look at the killer crossover that is one of Foster's trademarks.
6 seconds left to go. Ellis inbounding out to Lindsay. Lindsay back to Beth. Nice defense by Curtis, and Curtis forces another turnover. A long, long shot from the half-court line at the end of number 1. And our South Kitsap Lady Wolves down to those nasty Vikings from Curtis, 13-6.
Well, a very lethargic beginning for the Wolves. Don't seem to have anything going. Offensive boards, defensive boards. The shots are not falling. They're not working it into the paint. They're going to have to get it together here when they start this second quarter. Luckily, the Vikings have only scored 13 points, so it's only a 7-point deficit here at the beginning of the first quarter.
Well, I don't think the Wolves expected to be down to the Curtis Vikings, especially this quick. They're just going to have to regroup, get their heads straight, and start taking this Curtis team seriously.
Well, I'm going to take a little break here, and we're going to let my partner, Roger Fossum, from our high school basketball game of the week, grab this play-by-play microphone and join Larry and Nick Gale for quarter number 2 at South Kitsap.
Well, it's been a very, very interesting first quarter. I think that zone that the Vikings are putting on has been a little stifling as far as their offensive style. And to tell you the truth, in last week's championship game, the zone was fairly effective for the first quarter, and that was about all it took for the Bellarmine team to hang in there in the first quarter was that zone. They did change it, and I'm not exactly sure why they did, to tell you the truth.
South has yet to crack this defense, and it's ironic that Coach Wilson stressed defense so much.
And now the South Kitsap Wolves have switched to a zone defense, it looks like.
Thing that I saw mostly in the first quarter was just a lack of confidence on South Kitsap's part.
Well, perhaps they were looking ahead a little bit, playing the number 8 seed here in the tournament. Curtis, obviously, with nothing to lose. And,
finally, they hit an outside shot.
Finally.
Erica Lealo. How do you say that?
Lamalu.
On the outside, Curtis. An interesting ball club, 10 and 11, but really playing well tonight. Nice takeaway by
I think that was
Foster.
Lindsay.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
Lindsay
was.
Foster.
The South unable to hold on to the ball. The thing I noticed about Curtis tonight, they've been making some really difficult scoop shots. South Kitsap unable to hit the shots that they normally hit. Timeout on the court.
Well, you know, when you're not being able to hit from the outside, you know, you got to get it down inside. We haven't seen Natasha attempt anything from closer to about 6 feet, except for I think one play where she got fouled before the shot, and that one went in, but I don't think she got credit for it.
Well, South Kitsap definitely doesn't lack confidence. I wouldn't say their problem is overconfidence, but they're still trying to shake off the rust, and it's well into the second quarter.
Well, last week what we saw, once their passing on offense started to get sharper and quicker and people were whipping that ball around, it created a lot of opportunities, not only on the outside with clear shots, but on the inside as well, Raj.
We saw earlier in the year they played a game. The first quarter they played terrible. It wasn't until almost the game was over that they really exerted themselves. At this game earlier against Foss. And hopefully tonight, the second half will be where they really take it to Curtis.
Well, we'll see if this zone defense here by the Wolves has an effect on the Vikings production here.
I think South Kitsap can get away with pulling out their best stuff till the end, because when they turn on that A game, it's, as most of the Narrows League can tell you, it's unstoppable.
Foster was 3 on 2. And South will come away with the ball. Lindsay Foster, a real good ball handler. They tried to get a fast break. Curtis got back very, very quick. Did a real nice job of preventing South Kitsap from getting a shot up.
Erica Lamalu with the inbounds pass.
Lindsay not hitting from the outside yet. Ball tipped away from Lamalu. Quick hands by Melissa Brown. Melissa with 4 points tonight. So far, Mary Farron, 6 points, leading the way for the Curtis Lady Vikings. Lamalu with a good look. This time it doesn't drop. Farron brings it up. Wide open on the outside. Melissa Brown with an air ball. Wide open. Let's see what she does. Short. And Boyd, a little bit too far under before she started to get the ball up. And now we have a foul underneath.
Well, apparently it was after the shot. You got a hold.
Yep. Erica Lashmata with the foul. 14 fouls apiece. 5 minutes and 55 seconds left to go here. Underneath, Natasha cannot get it to drop. Gets it back one more time. No. Boyd keeps it with South Kitsap. Nice little runner by Lindsay. Gets her own board. Lots of offensive rebounds, and they finally capitalize. That was good effort by South Kitsap on that time down the court. 4 or 5 offensive boards. That's not going to make it, and South Kitsap starting to exert themselves a little bit. Wide open, Boyd, yes!
Now this is the pattern that we saw last week in Bellarmine. When the pace picks up, the Wolves start to produce.
Yes, it's definitely to their advantage to get moving.
Those layups by Foster and Boyd might be the spark that lights the fire here. 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
And they finally tied up, and the shooting ability is leaving Curtis as we speak, and South Kitsap lighting it up right now. I anticipate a nice run by South Kitsap. Lamalu has it blocked. South Kitsap will hold on to the ball.
Well, they're going to have to work it inside because, quite frankly, their shooting percentage must be around 20% or less.
That goes for both teams right now. Curtis is tossing up some grenades. They're wearing out the backboard on that end really fast.
They're joining the Masons Union with the amount of bricks that they're shooting. But South Kitsap, got to have a walk there on Kristen Boyd. South Kitsap did not light him up in the first quarter at all, but now they're getting the high percentage shots, which is what we really have been needing all night long.
And they're sticking with the full court press.
There's a steal.
Nice takeaway. Cooper playing the passing lanes very well. Gets underneath. Natasha gets it down.
And they take the lead for the first time in this ball game.
Finally, they're starting to play with the type of talent that a 20-1 team should be displaying.
I think the team that played Bellarmine last week just showed up in the gym.
Lindsay unable to get it, but right to Cooper. Lindsay, nice pass. Natasha not expecting it. That was a beautiful pass, head high, and unable to corral it. Erica Lamalu takes the seat.
Well, Beth Ellison again, as we saw last week and several weeks in a row. Beth Ellis, when she's on, she can light them up. I think she had 4 3-pointers in a row.
3:52 to go, second quarter. Still 14 fouls apiece. It's been a very clean ball game as far as fouls go.
Yeah, or they're just not calling them, either one.
Or recording them on the board.
They do tend to let them play a little bit more here in the playoffs.
Ball knocked away beautifully from behind by Boyd. Way
Another brick.
outside, and they are not shooting well. Alyssa Brown
What is he looking at?
got it outside, and Lashmata not even close on this shot. And that referee, you know who he reminds me of? You see Lou Pinello with a beard?
Well, let's not talk about that boring sport of baseball. Oh, sorry about that, all you South Kitsap baseball fans.
Okay, well, South Kitsap right now on quite a run. In fact, they have allowed almost no points this quarter, and they've actually come out and done an outstanding job here in the second quarter. 4.5 minutes gone. South Kitsap finally is taking the lead. They're not really putting them away yet, but in just a minute or two, Nick, I anticipate South Kitsap's going to have a 5-6 point
We'll
lead.
get to see the depth of the South Kitsap bench here in a hurry. I mean, when you've got players like Sampson and Lamalu to road in as sixth persons, you're looking pretty good, and that's why they're Narrows League Championship.
Now, Curtis has got quite a few girls that are 5'9", 5'10", but they don't have but one 6-footer out there tonight, and that's Ann Gibbon, and she's a talented ball player, but I just don't think they have the bulk that's going to be required. They're fairly quick, and they were really on early, but I think it's caught up with them. There's Gibbon on the outside.
Well, since the Wolves have switched to the zone, they seem to have having a little more trouble.
Gibbon, way too hard. And Sal's coming away with the ball, traveling. Oh, come on.
How about a foul on that? I mean, for God's sake.
The Vikings got height and they moved the ball around pretty well, but I'm still amazed how hard they shoot at the basket. You've got to get it in the hoop to score points, not ram it off the backboard.
Well, their aim isn't on either right now.
But they're getting multiple chances. They are doing a good job rebounding.
Brown on the outside. Over to Salzman. Passes up the three-pointer. Takes it again. Well, this time, she lights it up.
And the Curtis Vikings go back into the lead, 16-15 with 2:49 in the half.
That's a nice three-pointer. Natasha with the left hand drops it in. Good high percentage shot. 6 points now for Natasha. 2 minutes and 32 seconds to go here in the first half. Gibbon from the outside, an unintentional bank, and she's going to take it. 5 points now for her.
Foster's been running the floor this whole first half, and it's starting to pay off as they're just trailing by 1 here in the closing moments.
Oh, Natasha with a nice hook, but a little bit too hard off the bank board. Gibbon playing point guard now. Farron's underneath. Gibbon has it blocked and taken away by Cooper.
Really
Good
nice defensive
individual
play.
effort.
Excellent play. Lindsay stops and pops.
Well, nothing but nylon, smooth as silk. 5 points now for Lindsay as South Kitsap up by 2.
Let's hope she keeps that rhythm. Nice
block again. This time Natasha. Nice, clean takeaway. Back to Natasha. Yes!
She gets the shooter's roll on that one.
8 points now for Natasha. Minute 25 to go. Lindsay attempting the steal. Salzman to pass it in. Erica Lamalu back in. Kristen Boyd goes over and takes a seat on the bench. Good effort by Kristen. Lindsay with nearly another steal on South Kitsap, really asserting themselves right now.
Well, Lindsay is a great defensive player as well as a great point guard. That's 2 knockdowns in a row for her.
Getting down close to 1 minute to go. About a minute 15.
South
Lashmata gets it off.
still staying in that zone here for the Wolves.
Lashmata bounces it off of Lamalu's foot all the way. Glass, nice underhanded scoop.
Nice little hesitation at the end there. Freed her up for that last step, and she just finger rolls it up.
Oh, that was beautiful. South now up by 6. That's 7 points in a row.
Well, walk.
Lashmata can't get it. Cooper tears it down. And we've got a foul on Lashmata reaching in.
Congratulations. He calls the foul on that bear hug. And that's 4 fouls apiece. It'd be a non-shooting foul. Change of possession.
Okay, it is 5. South to bring it up. Natasha on the outside. Lindsay one more time. No, the bank closed this time. Yes!
Beth Ellis with a nice offensive rebound, and she just puts it right back up.
There it is, the keys: offensive rebound, low fouls, big defense.
That's right, Nick, and South Kitsap is really coming around. Up by 8, and this is what we were expecting. We didn't know when, but South, only a few times I've seen them this year, and they've started slow both games. So that's the entire first half all wrapped up.
And they get their rhythm together, leading by 8 as it comes to a close. And hopefully we'll see more of the same in the second half.
Well, it's been kind of a slow start for the Wolves, but they got things going here, and the defense got cranked up, and the offense started to hit. So we're going to kick it. I guess we're going to have a little halftime entertainment here. Is that right, Nick?
It looks like we've got the South K dance team coming out, and they're regular performers, and everyone likes to see these guys.
Well, we'll see you in the second half. Be back in a few.
And welcome back to the second half of action here at the South Kitsap High School Gymnasium. I'm the Dr. Doc Parr. It's Community Television's high school basketball game of the week, and we're very happy to be working this first playoff game with the South Kitsap High School Advanced and Professional Video Production class. I'm joined up here in the booth by my partner, Roger Fossum, on the play-by-play mic, and Nick Kale from South Kitsap High School. Nick, they did what they needed to do. They came back in that second quarter.
They did, and they now hold the lead by 8. And like you said, Doc, they need to string together 2 wins to get into the regional championship. And from there, it's on to the state championship. As we get underway here in the second half, the Wolves just need to continue. And there's a look at the SK faithful.
Definitely faithful. Faithful fanatics, I think, there. We saw those yellow and orange guys Saturday.
Faithful and brave. It's cold outside and rainy, as everyone on Route 3 could tell you.
Well, Roger, at the beginning of this third quarter of action, South Kitsap finally fought back there in quarter number 2 to take a 26-18 lead.
Well, Rochelle Cooper and Natasha Allen really turned it up both defensively and offensively. Natasha finished up with 8 points, started out real slow, didn't get very many shots in the first quarter. Lindsay Foster finally hit a 3 later on. She ended up with 5 points. And Erica Lamalu, she chipped in with 4 points herself.
They just headed back to the fundamentals. Good ball movement, good shooting, good rebounding, and big D.
And out here at the beginning of the third quarter of action, unfortunately, the Lady Wolves with a quick turnover. They've got their starters out there. Natasha Allen, Angela Sampson, Erica Lamalu, Kristen Boyd, and Lindsay Foster. Curtis still hanging around. Let Roger.
Salzman gets it underneath Gibbon. And Natasha playing really tough and causes a walk. Nice tie up by Natasha. And Gibbon. She's their only 6-footer out there. She's a senior.
And she'll be a rainbow next year. Natasha already signing her letter of intent to the University of Hawaii.
Oh, how nice. Aloha.
She's going to
oi.
join Kyla over there. Is that the same place where...
Kyla Evers
Yeah, Kyla
from
Evers.
South Kitsap. Also a rainbow for the University of Hawaii.
Lindsay. They're passing around the outside. Boyd from the free throw line. Swish.
Well, after a lethargic, I can say it, a lethargic start, Nick, they look like they're really picking up their pace out there now.
Yeah, they're picking up where they left off after the first half. And still with that tough D.
Natasha is just taking it to Gibbon. She's tying her up every chance she gets.
Now, Curtis, again, working it around that outside. They are a patient team. Got to give them that.
Well, when you're 10 points behind now, you've got to start doing a little more than standing around. You've got to start getting some points. And they let the clock run out. Turnover to South Kitsap.
Curtis is definitely patient. I hear they have practices in doctors' waiting rooms every now and again.
Uh-oh, Roger, look out. Look out.
Okay.
You got some competition here, buddy.
Very good.
And Natasha Allen in the middle.
She stops, she pops, drops it in.
That was a good-looking turnaround, and that's exactly what South wanted to do.
Get the ball to Natasha in the paint, and that's on every page of their playbook.
Yep, 10 points now for Natasha. And she is on right now, defensively and offensively, and Gibbon is avoiding her like the plague. Nice takedown on the rebound, Angela Sampson.
Angela Sampson's did some nice rebounding work last Saturday and tonight also. Good job under the boards by Angela.
And she's a good show of how deep the South bench is. You can go to her, you can go to Lamalu, you can go to Ellis.
I noticed that the game started, she came out from the doors long after the game started. I don't know if she was inside and didn't play in the first half.
She
And
did
she's out.
start. I think maybe she just had to take a bathroom break or.
Take a break. She had to
I don't
take a
think it was
break.
anything that technical. No injuries we've heard up here, but
Uh-huh.
Well, I thought it was interesting, too, the coach's pre-game comment about watching out for the fouls. In that first quarter, South Kitsap had a lot of them, but they've really cleaned up that situation.
Melissa Brown, dribble drive, swatted away by Erica Lamalu. Beautiful. And they attempt to get it to Lamalu on a fast break. Knocked out of bounds by the girls in blue.
Well, head coach Mark Salzman for the Curtis Lady Vikings out there didn't like that last no call.
That was very clean. Oh, and a little bit taken from South Kitsap's pages. Jump ball call, and who gets it? Curtis.
Well, to 5:18 mark, this is just round one, the first day of playoffs in the West Central District 3 4A Division School playoffs. Also in Kitsap County, we've got the Bremerton High Knights in the playoffs, and the Central Kitsap girls and the Olympic boys all in playoff action tonight.
And a nice little turnover.
that was a bounce pass to an SK cheerleader, and the turnover goes to South Kitsap.
Well, we want to thank Falcon Cable Television for helping to make this presentation possible with a grant to Westsound Community Television. And we want to thank Garrett Syke, chairman of the board at Westsound, who's been doing a yeoman's job down there directing, along with our buddy CJ Lupica on that switcher.
Passing it all around the outside. Now the time is run down 10 seconds on the shooting clock. Put up and in nicely. Melissa Brown with her 7th point.
Eureka, they find their first point of this half.
Well,
Back to a 10-point lead.
it almost seems like this slowdown game of Curtis is kind of a surprise for the South Kitsap Lady Wolves.
Boyd misses badly from the 3-point line. And Curtis brings it up.
Of course, as any basketball fan knows, the key is to set the pace for yourself and make the other team play to that pace.
South does a great job of that. They have Lindsay Sticks Foster run the floor all the time, and she does a great job of finding the people she needs to find in the paint, outside. She really sets the tempo for this team.
Sticks, is that her nickname or yours?
That's her nickname since I've known her since junior high, and that's what they've called her as long as I've known her.
All right, some great inside information there by Nick Kale.
Rochelle Cooper, Beth Ellis in the game. Lamalu and Natasha take a seat.
3:57 in the third quarter left to play, and South up by 10, 30-20.
Cooper brings it down, gets it ahead. Lindsay running up hard. 2-on-3, stops, pops, puts it in.
She is quick. Quick. She's so quick, she has the other team calling her Scooby-Doo, as in, where are you?
Well, Sticks moved rather well on that one. Salzman underneath. Good defense by South Kitsap. Beth Ellis with the tie-up. Gibbon took an extra step. 3:21 to go. And another thing, not a lot of fouls called in this ball game. Only one foul on South Kitsap
Well,
this entire quarter so far.
So far in this half, that first quarter, though, started out with the plethora of fouls.
Well, there was only 9 fouls called the entire first half.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Melissa Brown, nice defense to knock that out of bounds.
Kristen Boyd with the hand on the ball there, doing a nice job. And South Kitsap inbounding.
Boyd's been a big part of this team, picking up where her sister Valerie left off last season, and she's really stepped up this year in that number 2 guard spot.
3:05 to go, 32-20, South Kitsap with a little bit of command. And Natasha said, I've been sitting here long enough. I'm getting back in the game. Angela Sampson's going to go over and join the coach on the bench.
Well, I really like the coach's comment in your pregame interview that even though he's losing two great players like Lindsay and Natasha to graduation this year, he's looking forward to more good teams. What a program, all the way down to the freshman, ninth grade players looking good, he says.
He's intense. He's scouting out the elementary schools right now to be stacked up for years to come. He is losing two Division I players, though.
Gibbon is hacked by Natasha. And the grimace says, "Oh, I did not." But the call says she did. What an intense player she is. You got to like Natasha's intelligence on the court, and you can see why, that she's going to run off and go to a nice
As everyone
school.
can tell you, I mentioned in it the last game we did, she works harder than anyone in this league. If she could set up a tent in the gym and sleep here so she'd get to practice early, she would.
Yeah, Larry Rojo can testify to that. He sees her down at the gym, down there at the PSNS. She comes down there to work out, and I guess this gym's closed.
A veritable gym rat. Gibbon gets them both out. So they've got 4 whole points this quarter, and South Kitsap back to the 10-point advantage.
Now, this is certainly a game that we all knew from the beginning South should win. They've finally taken that 10-point lead. But I think Coach Wilson's going to have some coaching to do after this one, Raj.
And Boyd drops it in, her 6-point baseline. And now the triple teaming the ball. Sal's playing with a lot of movement right now, and the intensity is there. Just the first round of playoffs, but one thing, you start out lethargic, you got to realize you got to win this game to go and keep going.
Well, as Nick said, 2 wins send you to state, and that's the big show that everybody's shooting for, is that state tournament, the Sweet 16.
As the NCAA closes in on March Madness.
Nice little replay there. This is Kristen Boyd's shot that she made. We didn't see the end of it. We're back to live. 1:51 left to go here in this third quarter, and South Kitsap inbounding.
Lamalu ready to find Beth Ellis, gets herself open, but Cooper gets it, and no! Taken down by Lashmata.
Tried to give that one the body English to make it roll the right way.
Gibbon out by the 3-point line. Short, Sosmer.
And there she goes.
Lindsay throws it up with a left hand.
All right, and the fans love it, and I do too. Lindsay Foster pushing the break.
That's one of the strengths in her game. Her eyes can go anywhere on the court, but her hands and body always know where the hoop and players and ball's at.
And they're going to give the ball to Curtis this time, as South Kitsap caused a very awkward hook shot that drew nothing but the bottom of the backboard.
Nice shot of the Viking cheerleaders tonight. Great job tonight by the South Kitsap Advanced and Professional Production Video Production crew. Mike Downham, the executive producer and instructor.
I tell you, the job that they do here looks professional.
Oh,
and they listen to Garrett when he's directing, and the shots are fabulous. And of course, Garrett does a real good job. And when he's instructing the ones that direct themselves, you don't really see any drop off. They take instructions well, and this is really, really great.
Oh,
air ball. Well, actually, that's a net ball because you got the front of the net.
it did hit the net.
Amanda Salzmer, just her shoulders just dropped after she shot that ball. It's like, did I shoot that?
And the
bad?
crowd responded.
The usual taunt. Natasha finds Lomalu underneath.
In the
Whoa.
paint. No.
Natasha loses it out of bounds.
Well, that was a nice move, though. Erica just missed the layup, but nice dish by Natasha.
About 40 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. Larry Rowe will be back with you on the microphone when we go back to the fourth quarter. Nice to be with you tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
As you can see, South's not playing their A game. They're not playing their best right now, but the key is they're setting the pace.
Boy, they're causing some awkward shots to miss very badly. Picked up. This one drew some iron. Manda Salzmer knew she had to get it off because the shot clock was running down.
Aren't a bunch of fouls in this half, but it's pretty physical.
Well, you know, Curtis hasn't committed one this half. In and out. Lamalu with a nice looking shot. Oh, that's sliding on the floor.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a travel when you slide on the floor and you got a hold of that ball.
14-point lead, opportunity to get one more bucket real quick with 5 seconds to go. Beth Ellis to pass it in. And she gets the ball, finds Lindsay. She got to put it up. Beth gets it off. Oh, just short. After 3 quarters, 36-22, South Kitsap with a nice lead. Doc, Nick, that was a great quarter. They really came out and showed themselves this quarter.
Boy, yes, indeed. 36-22 lead now for our South Kitsap Wolves after kind of a scary first quarter, Nick. They got it back together.
Yeah, they held on to the lead and even increased it by, it looks, about 6. And not a whole bunch of fouls in this half so far, but it is a very, very physical game. Chicago Blackhawks hockey defense there on a couple possessions, and if they can hold on to this lead for the next 8 minutes, they're just going to cruise on to the next game in this district playoff.
And the next game will be Friday night over in either Tacoma or Auburn. I'm not sure which. We'll have to take a look at that schedule and see where that's going to be, but that'll be Friday night.
And as you look at that schedule, there's a look at some fateful, looks like junior fans.
Oh, those are not senior class members, huh, Nick?
No, I think they snuck into the art department before this game started and sported a new look.
At the beginning of the fourth quarter of action, a shot out there by Angela Sampson, and Curtis down by 14. Well, it's been kind of a slow game for South Kitsap, but I think they finally at least forced the pace, got it to their pace, and just by doing something like that, Lindsay Foster.
There she goes.
Yeah, I think the key to this game is when Coach switched to the zone defense. That was when the South Kitsap team started to come alive.
And we're going to have a replay of that fast break. Just a minute.
Good board by Sampson.
Oh, we're going to stick with the action.
Oh, beautiful down-court pass to Lamalu, but she took steps. Here's our replay.
Oh, here's our replay of this fast break. And she gets it and she goes. Lindsay's going to be a lumberjack next year, as in the Northern Arizona basketball program. She signed her letter of intent in December. And I talked to her. She's really looking forward to going over to Arizona.
7 minutes to go in quarter number 4. Ball down on the floor, and Curtis comes up with it. Put through by number 34 for Curtis, Erica Lastimado. Natasha Allen on the inside, her shot up, but rebounded nicely by Angela Sampson.
Well, once again, Angela doing the dirty work down low, getting a nice offensive board. Double team there at half court, and a foul is going to be called.
There have been a lot harder tickles than that in this game, but Boyd gets the foul called on her for that one.
South Kitsap finally working out to a larger lead now, 40-24 at the 6:26 mark.
Well, don't ask me to understand the officials because I don't.
Even though you work in a gym, Larry, you don't understand those guys in the black and white, huh?
This is usually the point in the game where you can close the books on opposing teams. South Kitsap up by 16. They're getting offensive rebounds. They're working the ball great. They're not shooting great, but it doesn't matter. They're setting the pace for this game.
Well, win number 1 puts them on the winner's side of that bracket, and boy, if they go all the way through the WCD winning, that puts them in a great seed position for the opening of the state tournament.
Well, Natasha's just not getting any of those little short jumpers to drop tonight.
It looks like Curtis is really packing the inside there, Larry.
Well, they're putting some wood on her, too, every time she goes in there. They're letting them play tonight, so 40-24 with 5:54 left in the game.
Salzman inbounding. I wonder if she's related to head coach
Over and back.
Mark Salzman. Oh, this is game number 1 in our doubleheader, first round of the playoffs. The second game will feature the Lady Cougars from Central Kitsap in a game played on Friday down in Tacoma. And again, we'll have to wait. This game is actually being played on Wednesday. We'll have to see where they're going to be, but we'll be bringing it to you. And now South's just willing to work some time off the clock.
There it is. Offensive rebounds.
Man, that'll give South another 30. Oh, count it.
Well, that was a nice little up and under move by Angela Sampson, having another outstanding game as she continues to impress us week by week.
Angela Sampson, only a junior, 6 foot. That's one of that cadre of good-looking players coming back next year, Nick.
That's right. Coach Wilson said he's got a lot of these juniors coming back. A lot of these guys are playing varsity this year, so you know they're going to be great next year.
Well, Angela obviously has a lot of natural talent, and she's developed considerably this year.
Yeah, Lindsay Foster with a takeaway. Oh, the look-away pass.
Oh.
That's for sure. Foster to Ellen. The South Kids have defense playing a little more aggressive this second half. Well, 4:50 left to go in the ball game, and a 20-point lead for our Lady Wolves.
We're going to see a fresh 3 in as looks like we've got 3 sets of 3-player substitutions coming in. Going to let the guys that don't see a lot of action see some early playoff action with the lead at 20 in the fourth quarter with 4:50 to go.
Now Paula Pritchard and Cooper coming in.
And Cooper broke that one up, got it to Foster, who pushes it down court just off the outstretched fingertips of Natasha.
A little adrenaline behind that pass. And Curtis is starting to show why they're the 8th seed now here late in the fourth quarter.
My apologies to Hannah Proctor. We were looking at the wrong program there.
And another turnover. Foul this time, and one of the rare fouls tagged to the Vikings. 5 team fouls for South Kitsap, 2 for the Curtis Vikings. And boy, oh boy, I don't think I hardly remember a game, Larry, that so few fouls. Curtis was tagged with what, 2 in the first half and two this half?
Well, they're just letting them play, I guess. It's playoff time.
That's right, the postseason. Nice feed inside. Natasha Allen will take a trip up to the free throw line.
Yeah, she gets tagged by Ann Gibson.
Well, even though it looks like they're going to win this one fairly handily, a 20-point lead, what do you think the coach is going to tell them, Larry, for the next game? They're going to have to start a little quicker than they did.
Well, that's for sure. They were just very lethargic. They weren't on the boards. Their passing was slow, wasn't crisp. Pretty much they didn't have anything going in that first quarter with, 6 points scored?
And part of it could be a letdown from that extremely emotional game on Saturday, that victory over Bellarmine. But, boy, you just got to cinch it up and get back to work. It's a whole new season here. These girls have a chance to go a long ways.
Well, they may not get very many chances if they start that slowly against a better team. I mean, that could have been the game against a quality, more of a quality opponent.
That's right. Regular season means nothing now, except for seeding. Your accomplishments in the regular season are just a memory. It's a whole new ball game. As you can see, Curtis took an early lead against the number 1 seed.
Well, as Coach Wilson said, too, in that pregame interview, they've got a couple of big teams that they've got to look out for. Enumclaw and Gig Harbor on their side of the bracket. And Boy, we've seen Enumclaw just decimate people in years previous.
Well, they're always a strong team. Auburn's always a strong team. We continually see them, and then there's a couple, of course, great teams from across the mountain too.
Yes, indeed. I believe 2 of them are 1 and 2, Central Valley and Prairie.
And looking far down the road, if you're getting into the state championship, you're looking at some really tough teams from the Seattle leagues. There's some teams across the water that can play some ball.
And Saltzman, I think that's her first 3 tonight. She's tried quite a few of them, but she finally connects on the tray.
Well, 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the game here. 45-29 in favor of the Wolves.
Proctor with the entry pass to Cooper. Oh! Talk about a strong rebound. I thought Rodman was out there with that one.
Well, I mean, both gals had a hold of that ball for a good 2 seconds before the referee called a jump, and Natasha, using her strength, just kind of lifted her off the ground and body slammed her.
Well, yes, indeed, and she's no small girl, Ann Gibbon.
No, definitely not.
At 6 foot.
I think my point was it could have been called about a second earlier.
To prevent the takedown, Larry?
Yeah.
You see Stacy Benton on the court now, number 20. Hopping around.
And Lindsay's just going to take her time. 2:40 left to go in this ball game. 45 for the Lady Wolves, 29 for the Lady Vikings.
Yeah, it's winding down now, and the lead is pretty significant and not a bunch of time left on the clock. I think Curtis might be thinking about what restaurant to stop on on the way home.
Well, they're giving their big people a break coming out, and Gibbon coming out of the ball game, who has probably led the way for the Vikings tonight.
Well, Ann's their second leading scorer, and she's done a good job tonight. Tough battle on the inside and showing good ball handling skills for a post player. Several times she's brought the ball down.
Beth Ellis bringing it inbounds for the Lady Wolves. Nice in and out. Cooper back out to Ellis. Ellis is shot off the iron and the board pulled down by Sydney Johnson for the Lady Vikings.
Neither team really rim friendly this evening. Just a lot of bricks.
Well, with a 16-point lead, there's not any time to work it around, Larry. Pretty much got to come and run and gun. Uh-oh. And that will be the 4th foul on Curtis this half. Under 2 minutes left to go in this game. South Kitsap up 45-29.
Well, Stacy Benton not being able to quite get her feet placed, and she's probably the smallest gal out there, maybe one of the quickest too. Just kind of getting smacked pretty good there.
Yes, indeed, Stacy Benton at 5'2". And Curtis grabs a hold of the ball to keep it alive for him. Minute 45 left to go. Now we got a moment. Let's thank the. We got a replay coming up here. And we'll see. There it is. As if by magic. Ooh, that was that nice outside three-pointer by Saltzman. Well, we want to thank the crew here from the South Kitsap Advanced and Professional Video Production class. Mike Downham, their instructor, our executive producer. They've done a great job. We really appreciate it. We've enjoyed working with them all year. CJ Lupica on the technical director tonight. Rob Collins, Aaron Davis, and Pat Austria. Mike McCurdy, Rob Howard on camera, David Garrett on the audio. And, of course, Nick, really enjoyed working with you these last couple ball games.
Well, it's been great being up here, and each of these games gets more intense, especially when you get into the playoffs. It's a lot of fun.
Well, wait till you get to those big domes, Nick. That's the fun place.
There you go.
Yeah, South Kitsap rated number 3 in the state at the latest AP poll.
I know the whole team. The whole team's really proud of that. That AP ranking. That's a number 3 in all the 4A.
I think that was a good point that the coach made before the game, that it's an honor, and they don't look at it as a blessing or a curse. It's just an honor.
Yeah, they're definitely not strategizing by it, but it's really nice to be recognized by all the coaches in the state.
And really, we've had some great basketball teams in Kitsap County. Bremerton High boys are rated number 3 in the 3A division. Bainbridge girls number 4 in the 3A girls side. Over to Stacy Benton. She pulls it back out. They're going to work that clock around. 45 seconds left to go in the game.
You thought Stacy was going to get her chance for the 3 there, but she unselfishly kicked it out to Foster.
And Foster unselfishly dished it off, but to no avail on the scoring end. Now, game number 1 in our doubleheader. Game number 2 features the Central Kitsap Lady Cougars in postseason playoff. Coach Denise Baxter taking the Lady Cougars to the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row.
Well, I think the Wolves have done well with this change of strategy from the man-to-man to the zone. We haven't seen them do much zone at all, except as a every once in a while strategy that they kick into, maybe for a couple plays during the game. But this zone is definitely shut down.
Oh,
the Curtis
nice,
Vikings.
Nice
And
steal
that's your ball game.
by Melissa Brown, but it's all over for the Curtis Vikings. And at the end of tonight's first round of the playoff, the South Kitsap Lady Wolves win 45-33. Well, it's a good way for the Lady Wolves to begin postseason play, even though that first quarter was a little scary.
Seems so. It got over before it got started. They had a rough first quarter, drew out to a big lead, held it in the second and third, and that fourth quarter looked like a junior high girls basketball game. Both teams just kind of lax and just moving the ball around. I think not a great win for South Kitsap, but it's good enough to get into this next game.
Well, a win's a win, and they got it going when they needed to. Definitely a very slow start to this game on both sides of the half-court line, but congratulations to the Wolves, who will be moving on to their next playoff game. And do we know who they're going to be playing yet, Doc?
Nope, we'll have to wait to see what happens tonight. All the other games played tonight, and that'll determine who they play on Friday night. And we want to thank everybody that's helped out in tonight's production. Roger Fossum just gave us the stats, and Natasha Allen leading the Wolves with 13, Lindsay Foster with 11. So the big 2 seniors come through leading their team. Might not have been as dramatic as it was Saturday, Larry, but they did the job.
Well, good team effort. Another good contribution from Angela Sampson, who's been rock solid in this last half of the season that we've been seeing her. It seems like she improves every game, doing all those things that that front line needs to do, getting those rebounds offensively, defensively, getting the fast break going on the outlet pass. Just a real good job all around by the Wolves tonight.
Great W, but I'm sure Coach Wilson has some notes to go over when he gets the girls in the locker room.
I think there'll be some coaching after this game. All right, Nick. Well, once again, we want to thank the crew here at South Kitsap High School, the Advanced and Professional Video Production class, for the great job that they've done. Always a pleasure to work with Mike Downham and the class. They've done a great job all year. We really appreciate the work Garrett Syke from Westsound Community Television has done. And we want to thank our crew up here in the booth. Roger Fossum, Larry Rowe, Nick Kale, and of course Felton Cable Television helping to underwrite this presentation tonight, and the rest of our postseason playoff games. Well, we'll definitely be back with South Kitsap for you fans as the postseason goes on, and we sure hope we can follow them all the way to that big show. I'm the Doctor, Community Television's high school basketball game of the week, game number 1. Stay tuned for game number 2. It'll be with you in just a minute, and we'll see you South Kitsap fans soon.